We back. We want to thank everybody once again for supporting the movement. Gmak Talks with me, G. And let's get right into the NFL scores, highlights, lowlights from this previous week. There was a lot of highs and there was a lot of lows. And then you had some just right in the middle, like moaning, if you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, we're going to start off with my boys on the Thursday night extravaganza. That's right, the San Francisco 49ers versus the Seattle Seahawks. The 49ers 36, the Seahawks 24. We'll get right into the stats. You had Geno, don't count me out, Smith. He was 30 for 52, 312 yards, and one trip to the promised land. No INTs on the day for him. Then we had the unspoken hero. Yeah, what? The third string running back, Garindo. Yeah, he was 10 carries for 99 yards. Get a man the ball one more time so we can get that, come on now, San Fran. You could do better than that. But anyway, heck of a day for him. And his long run was phenomenal. The young man said, hey, look, can I get me some carries going forward? But anyway, then we had, Samuel Jr. That's right. Debo. He was 3 receptions for 102 yards and one trip to the promised land. So we want to clap it up for my boys. We finally bounced back against a rather stout Seahawks team who, to be honest, after we lost to the Cardinals, I thought it might be Mickey and Tricky going forward in that division, because we are in a division with the Seahawks and the Cardinals. But anyway, we did pull it out 36-24. And we're going to move right on to the next game, which is the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Chicago Bears. The Bears 35, the Jaguars 16. The Jaguars dropped to 1-5 on the season. The Bears advanced to 4-2. So we'll get right into the stats. You had Trevor Lawrence. He was 25 for 35, 234 yards, and not one, but 2 touchdowns. Then you had D Swift. He's the running back for the Bears. 17 carries, 91 yards, 1 TD. Hell of a day for him. And then you had Ingram. He's the tight end for Jacksonville, and we already know this boy could ball. 10 receptions, 102 yards. Even though they're losing, that 1-2 punch with Lawrence and the tight end Ingram has been something very special. Let's hope they can get it together, especially with the weather that's going on in Florida right now. Everybody say a prayer for them, as there is a lot of people that are going to need assistance to get back to they were before the hurricane and storm related damages. Anyway, here we go. We had the Colts versus the Titans. The Colts 20, the Titans 20. The Colts are now at 500, 3-3, 1-2 away. The Titans fall to 1-4. Ouch. Let's get right into the stats. You had Joe Tackle Flacco. He was 22 for 38, 189 yards, 2 TDs. Then you had Mr. Elusive back. That's right, Tony Pollard, running back for the Titans. 17 carries, 93 yards, 1 touchdown. He is playing his game every game. So I'm going to give him a quick clap, because Tony Pollard, I know, look, he left the Cowboys, but they're not doing too hot either. So they're not doing as bad as the Titans, but if you're not winning games and if you're not making it to the playoffs, it really doesn't matter if you're at the bottom or if you're in the middle or even at the top if you can't win a playoff game. So anyway, then we had Downs. He's the wide receiver for the Colts. He was 7 for 66 and 1 touchdown. Middle of the pack, but he still balled out for his team on that day. So we're going to get right on to the next game, which is the Texans versus the Patriots. The Texans 41, the Patriots 21. The Texans advanced to 5-1 on the season. The Texans are 5-1, you guys. That's the team to beat in Texas. Let's get right on to the stats. You had May, quarterback from New England. He was 20 for 33, 243 yards, not 1, not 2, but 3 touchdowns for the young man. Then you had Mixon. We already know about him. Running back for Houston, 13 carries, 102 yards, and 1 touchdown. Heck of a day for him. Was doing his thing for show. Then you had Douglas, the wide receiver for New England. He had 6 catches for 92 yards and 1 TD. So the Patriots are going to go through some growing pains. You already know about the Belichick errors done. There was a coaching change. They brought in Mayo, and they just don't have the personnel. let's just be gun barrel straight about it. They do not have the personnel to win games. So, I hope they give this coaching staff another year or two to see if they can put something together, and maybe with free agency and with the draft and whatnot. But we'll see. We'll see what ownership and general managers have to say towards the end of the season. And let's get on to the next game, which was gunslings and things. This is the Buccaneers versus the Saints. The Buccaneers 51, the Saints 27. The Buccaneers advanced to 4-2. The Saints dropped to 2-4, which is crazy because the Saints have all the pieces to the puzzle, but they scored 27 points in the second quarter. No points in any other quarter. Like, can't we spread the wealth, fellas? Come on now. Right before halftime, you guys put up 27, and then you just, that's it. Anyway, let's get on to the stats of the day. You had Baker Mayfield. Man, oh man. 24 for 36, 325 yards. Not one, not two, not three, but 4 touchdowns for him. Heck of a day. Get a boy a clap. Matter of fact, give him a clap on the bizag. Then we had Tucker, running back for Tampa Bay. 14 carries, 136 yards, and 1 TD. He was balling, baby. Then you had Godwin. Yeah, he's the ex-49er. He was 11 for 125. Not 1, but 2 trips to the promised land. So, hey, the Buccaneers might just be for real, for real. We're going to see. Let's get on to the next game, which is the Browns versus the Eagles. The Eagles 20, the Browns 16. The Eagles were expected to win the game, but they did not win in convincing fashion. Let's get right to the stats. Jalen, I hope I'm not hurt, Hurts, 16 for 25, 264 yards, not 1 but 2 TDs. Heck of a day for him. That's what we expected out of you, young man. Then you got Barkley, 18 carries for 47 yards. May not seem like a whole lot, but it did help relieve the pressure off of Jalen. So it did what it was supposed to do. And you got A.J. Brown, wide receiver for Philly, 6 receptions for 116 yards and 1 TD. So the Eagles are 3-2, 2-1 at home, right? I still think they're going to make a coaching change this year, maybe towards the end, maybe even early next year. I don't think the players and the coach are in sync. But anyway, and on to the game of the week, which was the Commanders versus the Ravens. The Ravens 30, the Commanders 23. Lamar, no agent needed Jackson. He was 20 for 26, 323 yards, and 1 trip to the promised land. Then you had Derrick Henry. Oh my goodness, 24 carries, 132 yards, and not 1 but 2 TDs. I'm telling you, when you give that man the ball, you're almost guaranteed a W with Lamar Jackson at the quarterback position. Then you had Flowers, wide receiver for Baltimore, 9 receptions for 132 yards. Didn't score any touchdowns, but he still had a buck 32. That's right, in Espanol for all of y'all that speak that. And we're going to move right on to the next game, which is the Chargers versus the Broncos. The Chargers 23, the Broncos 16. The Broncos are now at 500, 3-3. The Chargers are 3-2, 2-1 away. Justin Herbert, 21 for 34, 237 yards, and 1 TD. Then you had Dobbins. He's a running back for the Chargers. He was 25 for 96, 1 TD, was balling, workhorse type of running back, gave him the ball quite a bit. Then you had Vale, wide receiver for Denver. He was 4 receptions for 70 yards, a leader of the day. Still not enough to propel them into victory. And here we go to another, which I thought was going to be a closer game, but it was not when you watch the film, and that's the Steelers versus the Raiders. Steelers 32, the Raiders 13. You had O'Connell. He's the quarterback for Las Vegas at the moment. He was 27 for 40, 227 yards, and 1 TD. Great day for him. Then you had Najee Harris. He's the big elusive back. Yeah, he's got a 1-2 step like Sierra. He was 14 carries for 106 yards and 1 TD. Heck of a day for him. And then you had Bowers, tight end for the Raiders, 9 receptions for 71 yards. The Raiders, are just the Raiders, right? Ever since the Gruden days, they really haven't been able to put together a substantial season. And then you have all of the noise with Devontae. So we'll see if, because of the coaching change, I thought that they had brought in, when they brought in Pierce, that, he was a player's coach. But it looks like the players are not in tune with the coach. But what do I know, right? I'm just Gmak with Gmak Talks. Anyway, next game, which was absolute ass kicking, which was the Detroit Lions versus the Dallas Cowboys. The Lions 47, the Cowboys 9. The Cowboys only scored 3 field goals, 1 in the first, 1 in the second, 1 in the third, nothing in the fourth. It just really was a beating. Dallas Cowboys are 0-3 at the Casas. You gonna let them come to your house and beat you in your house like that? There's no respect for Jerry now. None Anyway, let's get right on to the stats. You had Jared Goff. He's resurrected now, isn't he? Reunited, and it felt so good. 18 for 25, 315 yards, and not one, not two, but 3 trips to the promised land. You had Montgomery. That boy can run. He had 12 carries for 80 yards, and not one, but 2 touchdowns. Then you had, when CeeDee Lamb is in the house, oh my God, 7 receptions for 89 yards, but no touchdowns. Where was Dak? Where you at, Dak? Where you at? Where you at, Dak? Where you at? So anyway, the Cowboys fall now to 3-3 at 500, and I thought they were supposed to be making it to the Super Bowl this year, according to friends, fans, foes. Anyway, let's move on to the next game, which is the Falcons versus the Panthers. The Falcons 38, the Panthers 20. The Panthers are looking like they did last year. They're 1-5, 0-3 at home. The Falcons are 4-2, 2-0 away. Okay, let's get right on to the stats. Kirk, I'm in love, and Cousins, 19 for 30, 225 yards, and 1 TD. Then you had Algier, the running back for Atlanta, 18 carries for 105 yards and 1 TD. And then you had Johnson, 6 receptions for 78 yards and 1 TD on the day. 38-20. Wasn't even close. Panthers don't even score in the fourth quarter. They scored in the first and second, then had a field goal in the third, and that was all she wrote. On to the next game. So we've got the Cincinnati Bengals versus the New York Giants. Bengals 17, the Giants 7. You had Burrow. He was 19 for 28, 208 yards, but no touchdowns. Then you had Daniel Jones. He was actually the leading rusher of the day. He had 11 carries for 56 yards. And then you had T. Higgins. He had 7 receptions for 77 yards for Cincinnati. Cincinnati is now 2-4, 2-1 away. Giants are 2-4, 0-3 at home. All right. And then we're going to get into the final game of the week, which was the Bills versus the Jets. After the debacle with the Jets head coach, the nigga didn't want to leave, is what they said. They had to get security to get him from up out of here. Anyway, the Bills 23, the Jets 20. Very close game. Went down to the final minute of the game. And Aaron, Mr. 4-time MVP Rodgers, threw a pick when he needed a touchdown. Anyway, let's get to the stats. Aaron Rodgers was 23 for 35, 294 yards, 2 TDs, but he did throw a very crucial interception in the fourth quarter. Then you had Hall. He's a running back for the Jets. He had 18 carries and 113 yards. Heck of a day for him. And then you had Lazard. He's 6 receptions for 114 yards for the Jets. So the Jets lead the statistical board, and they still can't come away with the W. We shall see. I think they just have the interim head coach. We'll see if he remains the head coach or if they go look for someone like Belichick, or maybe even if they reinstate Rex Ryan, maybe, But it should be interesting to see who they go with. I think they could probably want someone younger who they can grow and build with, but we shall see. We shall see. So anyway, we're going to get to a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to have football trivia. Thanks for watching.
Yeah. Let me talk to him. Niggas ain't real no more. Just some pretenders. Did I hit it back in the day? I can't remix the world go round. In every hood, she say I could have it from the back. You really lies.
We back. So, this is a very simple trivia question. All right. So now we're going to get into NFL running backs. All right. Who is the NFL's all-time rushing leader for the duration of their career? I'm going to say it again. Who is the NFL's all-time rushing leader? Don't be looking on Google. Don't be asking Siri. Don't be talking to Alexa. If you know it, you know it. If you don't, you don't. I can get 5 people. The first 2 get a cash prize. The first winner gets 20. The second winner gets 10. And the last 3, please. Anyway, get down in the comments. Let me know who it is. If I can get 5 people, somebody will get a little Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, your wire transfer app of choice. All right. Anyway, we want to thank you guys for tuning in again to another week of Gmak Talks with me, G. And until next week. Peace.